Hi guys, my name is Zada and I am a nomadic modern day healer. I get to travel and help hold space for others to heal. And when I'm not helping others, I'm working on myself. And so today I have a little bit of a challenge for you. I want to challenge you to become uncomfortable. And then I want to challenge you to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And uncomfortable, vulnerable, whatever word you would like to use, that's the place that I find I grow the most. And so I want to challenge you to reach out and become, to find those places that challenge you and make you uncomfortable and make you vulnerable. And so I live out of my car. It's an SUV. Most days I love it. A lot of times I live out of it instead of living in it, but I do live in it as well. I have a bed and then in the back. So the last couple days have been a little uncomfortable for me. And then when I get uncomfortable, it also allows me time to process and think. And so that always turns into a good thing. I chose to go to Huntsville State Park for the last few days, and it has done nothing but rain. And, well, I say nothing, but the first day I got to relax and reconnect and all that. But then after that, it's been raining. So I've been kind of stuck in the car for 3 days. And there's only really 2 positions in an SUV that you can be in. One is the driver's seat, and one is laying down in the back. And so let me just back up a little bit and tell you how I got to Huntsville State Park. So before I went to Peru, I went to Peru in August, I was hopping around houses a lot between friends because it's summer in Houston and it's hotter than hell. And I was gracious enough to be offered couches and beds, and that allowed me places to sleep with not having to sleep in my car. So I was living out of my car but not in my car. So when I got back from Peru, I stayed several days with my parents to try to reacclimate, and then I immediately went into my week of work. When I'm working, I'm mostly traveling. I do 1 week that is primarily around Houston and the Houston area, and so that's what I consider my 1 week of work. And then everything outside of that is wherever I go, or wherever spirit leads me, really. So I did. Sorry, I've got a little bit of an issue this morning. So anyway, so I went to Peru and I came back and I did my week of work, and then I found myself back at my parents'. And I realized I'm finding myself back at my parents' more and more. And so I was getting to the place of uncomfort there. I love my parents to death. They respect and honor what I do. They're very encouraging, even though they don't understand what I do. But we kind of have this mutual understanding. Like, it's my mom and my stepdad. But we kind of have this mutual understanding of, like, they don't want a grown child living with them, and I don't want to live with them. So I was finding myself in this space of really having trouble integrating after Peru. I think a lot of it just has to do with the energy vibrations here versus there. The food is a big factor. My stomach has not been right since I've been back. I've had a lot of stomach issues around the food in America. My stomach's just not handling it well, even when I'm cooking for myself. And then I just kind of, depressed isn't the right word, but having this feeling of something's not right. I can't get reconnected. I can't get grounded. And I was so connected in Peru. And ideally, being a bridger, that's part of the job, is you're supposed to bring that back to America and help be that bridge and stay connected here. So I do have work in Austin in a few days, so I knew that that I was leading up to going to Austin. But as I'm sitting in my parents' house, I realized Spirit starts talking to me, and it's like, this isn't where you're supposed to be. Spirit, it's like, we put you in your car for a reason, so it's time to get back out there. You need to go back to nature. You need to be connected. You need to get back to living on your own and doing your thing and not relying on other people. And so, of course, there's this internal battle because, there's comfort. There's comfort in being in a home. There's comfort in being around family. And there's normal comforts like a bathroom and AC and being able to do laundry whenever I want to do laundry. So I agreed because I kind of have a deal with Spirit. Spirit tells me to move, and I try to move before Spirit has to tell me. But then Spirit always works for me as well. So we just, I have this mutual understanding and this mutual agreement that I got your back, you got my back. So let's do this. So I started looking around at state parks. I like state parks because I feel safe in state parks. I don't have to worry about parking illegally or trying to find a place that doesn't, anyway, it's just convenience. But you do pay for it. And so I started looking around at state parks in Texas, knowing that I was going to Austin. So I didn't want to have to go too far. So I started looking at a couple different state parks. And it really boiled down to price of where I wanted to stay, but price. And knowing that, so I would plan on moving, and I think tomorrow, I'm moving closer to Austin. So that I'll be there for my client. But anyway, so I get to Huntsville State Park and I set up tent space. I don't really set up a tent. What I do is I pop the back window and I have a mosquito net that goes over it. So it allows circulation and ventilation in the car, and then I have a little battery operated fan when I sleep. And then I set up my tent, my hammock. I set up my hammock and got the stuff out to boil some water and have tea and all that kind of stuff. And so the first day and a half was freaking phenomenal. I literally laid in my hammock by the water doing absolutely nothing. And at times the uncomfort starts to come up again because I'm laying there doing nothing in a hammock. And so the chatter brain finds ways to get in, and it's like, you're supposed to be doing something. You should be doing something. Why aren't we doing something? Let's listen to music. Let's watch Netflix. Or what are the neighbors doing? And so allowing yourself to go through the chatter mind, but then also put the chatter mind to sleep, and just being okay. And within that, I found that connectedness again. I found what I was looking for. And it's funny because Spirit always knows what you need. You just have to listen. And so, to me, being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be in an uncomfortable space and being comfortable with being in that uncomfortable space. So being comfortable with the quiet, being okay with being there, it allows for growth, and it allows you to see the things that you need to see. So kind of the same thing has happened being in the car for the last 3 days. It makes you think, and it makes you appreciate, and it makes you connected because, normally, even if you're outside, you can kind of look around and you can see the neighbors and the other campers. I live in my car. I'm not just a camper. So I do, get on Facebook, and occasionally I'll watch like YouTube or something like that, Netflix or whatever, read a book. But all in all, when you're in a car and it's raining outside, there's two places you can be, sitting up or laying down. And at some point it becomes uncomfortable, physically uncomfortable. And then I have to make the decision, and so I have lots of friends, and I know you're all going to watch this and be like, you could have come to my house. But that's not the point. The point is, I need to be here. I need to be on my journey, and I need to do me. And part of doing me is allowing myself to reach these uncomfortable spaces and these places of uncomfort, to be able to grow. And so ultimately, there's not much you can do except for lay there and let Spirit talk to you and through you. And by doing that, you become way more connected. And I say you, meaning me, but we are one. And I don't want to take your experience from you. So I become more comfortable, and I become more connected, and I realize what that connectedness feels like again, that connectedness that I longed for to bring back from Peru. So my challenge to you, to make this video short and sweet, is to allow yourself to be uncomfortable and then become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Allow yourself to reach the vulnerable places, to allow Spirit to talk to you, and to allow your mind chatter to go to sleep and listen and figure out where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, because being uncomfortable helps you grow, and by growing you become more of who you are supposed to be. Many blessings.